saddest feeling nowadays that all my dreams are much too far away. Sometimes the nights got me aching, working hours in the cold. And I can't imagine how it feels to end up where you feel you had to go. I've been lost, starving, praying nothing else will go wrong.
Welcome to WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. It's a 2 for Friday. Yeah, there's just too much delightful stuff going on. I have 4 political graves that I want to dance on with you today. Just want to give you a heads up. At 9 p.m., we're going to do a call-in show. I've been chatting with Foxy, and we were having an interesting chat, and being a greedy little piggy that I am, I thought, why not enter this into the capitalist game and sell ads for the chat. But no, it's a good conversation. I want to keep having it in all seriousness. I want to have it in real time because I get tired of typing as well. And it's going to be useful for y'all to hear. If we're thinking about this wrong, I want to have y'all intervene before we go too deep. Moving on, y'all. 4 political graves. I just added one. Literally just saw this video. It has no views on YouTube. Let me say that again. The video I'm about to show you has no views on YouTube. You and I, as we play it now for this stream, will be the first views that it has. And what I would recommend you do is pop on over to this cat's channel and give it some views. Link in the description. Hell, just play the thing a couple of times, boost it in the old algorithm because it's amazing. We're going to do the intro now. We'll say hi in a second. Oh, hell, let's say hi now. I'll redo that in a second. I want to say hi to y'all. To the live audience, hello, Pinkerbell. Hello, hello. Anticorporatus, once more, this popped up on my iPad, but not my phone. I have no idea why that is. Are they both Apple? Is it an iPhone as well? I don't know. The Anticorporatus, it's funny how it updates too. It's still telling me there are 0 people in chat. To be frank, I am a bot. Well, fair enough. We knew that you were assembled from the best parts of the internet. That's fine. We love you anyway. Shark 3. Oh, yeah, Shark 30 was at that same Matt Walsh gig, says Pinkerbell. I saw that. I haven't seen his video yet. I'm champing at the bit to see his interaction. I was planning on watching it tonight as I enjoyed a fine Georgia Blaze, but this was too good not to show you. I mean, it was just, the audience literally laughs at Matt Walsh. We'll get there. Environmental Coffee House. Hey, Sandy. Everybody is on when everybody else is on. We have our show at 9 p.m. every Friday. Lots of choice. True. Also, I'm going to throw this at you, Sandy. If our shows are on at the same time, it opens us up to the ability to screw with the audience a little bit. Like, you could put something up that's pre-recorded, but pretend like it's live, or I could do that. And then, surprise, we're on the other show. I'm just saying, if you want to prank the audience, April 1st is right around the corner in terms of prank prep time. Oh, God. Yes, I realize I'm talking about this from a full half year away. The Anticorporatus, man, I'm bummed about not being able to do the live stream. I was Nina's stream? I don't know. I don't see the end of that message. But hey, we're just gonna keep putting stuff up constantly, and there's nothing wrong with catching it in the Wicked house in the comments. In fact, that helps get that content out there. Anti-corporatist, yeah, I had been watching it this morning, but then, I don't know, I had to drop a trailer or something. I caught some of it on Vosh, too. Yeah, you probably saw your old pal Jake lurking around there. Yeah, that's where I saw it initially. Environmental Coffee House, I can't prank on Friday nights with Jennifer. We're all business. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm just saying, if you're feeling squirrely one day, we'll jump to it. Sorry, I look like I'm in an Eastern European mob today. I was chasing the dogs around for some time, and we're doing this stream now because I don't want to wait. This is too much fun. I want to talk about this with y'all. There's so much good stuff. Okay, let's get to it. Come out. A great poet. Come on. Man, I don't know how, but this video that I'm about to show you has no views at the time of us doing this. So let's go be view number 1. Link is in the description. What I recommend you do is spread this video on all your social media. Not this one. Not this one I'm going to clip. Not this one that's live, although it doesn't hurt. But the video that is linked in the description. Share it on your social media. Because Matt Walsh looks a fool. And the person talking to him has the absolute perfect method of dealing with these clowns. It is amongst the most entertaining and effective. All right, it's amongst the most entertaining content I've seen, but it's also amongst the most effective strategies I've seen for talking to these folks. Here it is. It's a fella by the name of Alec Gunter.
All the way here just so I could ask you a medical question. So I have a question about your stance on puberty blockers for children. Now, you've stated before that puberty blockers are dangerous, and certainly they do carry the risks. However, child pregnancy is far more dangerous for the child and carries risks up to and including death and permanent disability. So why do you believe that a 13-year-old should be forced to give birth to their rapist child?
I don't think that it is ever okay to kill a child.
Okay, so then why do you support a 13-year-old giving birth to their rapist child, which could kill them?
This is not about.
Right there. What was the very first thing Matt Walsh tried to do? Basically, what I see, and look, hear me out, even right-wing supporters who have been duped and are not themselves trying to con, it's what I see every right-winger do. You ask them a straight question, and they try to run away. They try to make the conversation about something else, and they think that is clever because they have forgotten why we are having a discussion. It's to arrive at serious answers. But they see this truly as a game. Now, Matt Walsh is dishonest. Matt Walsh sees this as a game because he does not care about other human beings. He cares only about himself, and playing this game is how he makes his fortune. And we are going to be damned by history for having allowed people to make fortunes off of the kind of hurt that Matt Walsh does. Spreads. But even the good-natured right-wingers, there are really no truly good-natured right-wingers in the United States that I have met, including on the internet, but even the, let's say, sincere right-wingers, they don't know any better. To them, this is all they see. This is all they ever see. When you get asked a difficult question, you squirm, and you wriggle, and you flee from it, and you try to make it about something else. And they think that's just what politics is. No interest in what the actual truth is. So what do you do? Exactly what apparently Alec Gunter does. Stop them and go right back. As soon as they flee, stop, go right back to the question. Ask it again. In this case, yeah, imagine how scared a sibling of yours, for example, might have been when giving birth. Imagine how scared you might have been when giving birth. You had if you're an older sibling and you remember when your mother was giving birth to your younger sibling, do you remember how scared she was? Why? Why be scared? Because it's legitimately a dangerous thing. Spartan women who died giving birth were the only people, in addition to warriors, who got the grave marker that said "in battle." Matt Walsh wants to put a 13-year-old through that, rather than have her get a simple medical procedure to scrape an egg that should not be fertilized. Because, again, I stress, this 13-year-old in this scenario is a victim of rape. To scrape that egg out and not have the 13-year-old be forced to give birth. Matt Walsh just tried to run from that right off the bat. Gunter didn't let him. That's what I recommend you do as well. Let the conversation be awkward. Their fault for being terrible, not yours for insisting we talk about honest politics.
The person who has caused that condition, the person who has caused this situation, is the rapist. Now, if you want to kill somebody because of what has happened to this poor child, then I absolutely...
I feel like you're not answering my question.
Right? Look at that. Again. He just tried to deflect again. He said, oh, it didn't work when I tried to make it not about the 13-year-old girl, so I made it about the baby. He didn't bite. Maybe he'll get distracted if I talk about the rapist instead. Maybe I can get this guy to focus on whether or not I just said we should execute rapists as a matter of course. It's a separate political conversation. Again, Matt Walsh, the coward, is fleeing. He's fleeing the question. That's a great way to know that you've asked a question they do not have an answer for. Matt Walsh knows it. Matt Walsh is terrified in this moment. That means Matt Walsh is having a bad day because of Alec Gunter. Matt Walsh is being embarrassed because of Alec Gunter. I am, in other words, very grateful to Alec Gunter, because a bad day for Matt Walsh is a great day for decent human beings.
Well, if you would let me talk, I could answer it.
Okay.
If you want to kill someone in response to a rape, I am fully in support of killing the rapist. And so if there is a rapist who has raped a 13-year-old child, as far as I'm concerned, go to trial, convict them, that same day, take them out back and hang them, as far as I'm concerned. What I do not think is...
Why do you believe that a child...
Because I don't think it's okay to kill a child intentionally
support...
under any circumstance.
Oh, intentionally?
Yes.
Okay.
You're the medical expert.
Sure.
The unborn child, is that a human being or not?
That is a religious question.
It's not a religious question, it's a medical question. How's it a religious question? It's a medical question. What is it if it's not a human being? So you don't know.
No, I do know. It just has human genetics.
So is it a human or not?
Okay, note right there. He did have an answer. And this is when you start getting into a little bit more advanced politics. By the way, you guys are there right now. If you're wondering, if this was me and I was there, would I have the political ammunition, the knowledge to be able to pull off what he's pulling off? Set aside would the strategy that he's using come to mind, and just, if you're wondering, would I have the actual knowledge? You already do. Anti-corporatist has me running circles sometimes as I'm considering points that the guy makes. Wireless Mike, Pinker Bell, My Dogs Are Goth, B-Cat and K, Pendulous Dragon, Rex Trek. You guys drop information all the time. If you have a thing that makes you want to go in front of Matt Walsh and ask a question, you have the information. Here is the technique. Here's what to do with that information. Don't dump it. That's our go-to move on the left, is just dump information, and people don't listen. They just don't listen. It doesn't say, the individual words don't mean anything to them because there's just too much. Hold back. He had an answer to that question, but he didn't. Let's play it while my mug is up here spoiling it. It's a 5-minute video. This is going to be a 15-minute segment. We're going over this in detail. Every ounce of this is gold.
You're the medical expert.
Sure.
The unborn child, is that a human being or not?
Now that's you sitting right there, and there's your moment. He stopped talking. He's given you a chance to talk. Look at this guy's face. Look at this stone cold mother. He has an answer. But they're already talking about something other than the crux of the question he asked. What about the fate of the 13-year-old girl? He sees that again, Matt Walsh is desperate to lead him down another path. He doesn't bother going into his answer because that is what Matt Walsh wants him to do. Matt Walsh wants to gish gavel. He wants to then disagree with some small point that this guy makes in the response to a counter question that is not truly related to the initial question, or it's only tangentially related. Because again, what Matt Walsh is trying to do desperately, with increasingly desperate action, he's trying to avoid answering the question. And so this guy has an answer, and he demonstrates that, but he doesn't go into detail on his answer. And he demonstrates that he has an answer later because he just moves on until Matt Walsh specifically says, well, you don't have an answer. He says, I do. It's blank. But what you said was...
That is a religious question.
It's not a religious question. It's a medical question. How's it a religious question? It's a medical question. What is it if it's not a human being? So you don't know.
No, I do know. It just has human genetics.
So is it a human or not?
Medically speaking, we don't consider it a full-fledged human being. And if we did, it would have something like
Not full. What do you mean full-fledged?
So then let me ask you this. Why don't we have conception?
Oh, that's brilliant. Going back there in a second. We're gonna ramp that back up. But again, he had the answer. He said, medically speaking, no, it's not. It's not. It's genetic material. Is a sperm a full-fledged human being? Nope. Is an egg? Nope. Is a fertilized egg? Nope. We say in the medical industry it is not a human being until it is multiple sets of organs working in unison and, generally speaking, able to sustain life on its own without the mother. That's the answer. But the point is, he didn't feel the need to dump that all out there, like I just did. He didn't feel the need to do that. All he feels the need to do is to grab Matt Walsh, that weasel mother, and make him answer the question. But here's a great dig he gets in. Okay, actually, before we go into that, why is it a great dig? Because it's fast. He bothers to give this dig only because it's fast, sums up his argument well, and he can go right back to answering the question or asking the question.
So is it a human or not?
Medically speaking, we don't consider it a full-fledged human being. And if we did, it would have something like
Not full. What do you mean full-fledged?
So then let me ask you this. Why don't we have conception certificates?
Boom.
Well, for one thing, it's very hard to know exactly when a conception occurs.
So then that's a
difficult
convenient
thing
excuse
to
then.
What's that?
That's convenient. It's just convenient that it's it's hard
Well,
to figure out.
yes, it would be very inconvenient
Right.
to try to get a certificate for when exactly you conceived.
Okay,
also
then like
a little
a
bit strange, to be
heartbeat,
honest. I don't want to have to go to
certificate.
I don't want to have to go to the
Then a-
licensing office and say, hey, my wife and I had an experience the other night.
Then I'll meet you halfway. How about a heartbeat certificate?
No.
No? Why not?
A heartbeat certificate?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm fully for it. Let's have one.
You are
We should
fully
definitely
for
have
that.
one of those. Yeah, absolutely. Great idea. I like that idea. But
But just,
let me,
just to be clear, you do
no,
support
you-
13-year-olds giving birth to their child's rapist.
you have not. We can't
to
have
their
this.
chi- their rapist
we
child.
have not. I don't support killing a child. Do
No.
you?
So he almost loses it because Matt Walsh successfully started arguing with him about something else. Oh, the heartbeat certificate. Yeah, that's what we should do. Yeah, that's what I want. Even though it was a great dig. But he catches that. Alec Gunter does. He catches that and he goes right back to it. Why are we going to make this 13-year-old child risk her life over a fertilized cell that should not be fertilized? There is not a decent answer for that question, and Matt Walsh knows it. Watch him scramble. I'm just going to let this awkwardness go for a moment.
But no, I do not. But I'm
Okay,
asking
so you do support abortion or
No,
you
you're
don't?
avoiding my question. Do you
I've
support?
answered your question. You haven't
No,
answered
not.
mine.
You have not answered the question. Yes
Is
or no?
the unborn child a
Do
human
you
being or
support-
not?
I'm not letting you get away from this, man. Do you support?
You are not
a
answering the
child? I asked
Let's try
you
this
the-
again. Let's
Wait,
try this
who's
again.
asking the questions here, man? Come on.
Let's try this again. I do not support
No.
I do not support the direct intentional murder of a child under any circumstance.
Right, so then
at
you
all.
don't support a 13-year-old child giving birth to their rapist child because that could kill them. It has a very good chance of doing
That's-
so via
okay.
hemorrhage, toxemia, all kinds of complications, permanent disability. There are all kinds of complications with that.
I'm
So
gonna try
why
this.
do you
Side note, did you hear that smattering of applause for Walsh? What? He just did the tone like he won. It's just me? That's apparently a Matt Walsh fan. Yeah. Just you. Because everybody else knows in that crowd, whether they like Walsh or hate him, that was not a moment to applaud for Matt Walsh.
support?
Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna hold on. No.
Okay,
Hold on
don't
one
answer
second.
the
One second.
question. I appreciate your time.
No. Come back here.
Why? You're not answering my question.
Because you're the nurse, you're the medical expert, and you won't even tell us what a human being is. I'm
Well,
starting
you
to get
didn't
concerned.
answer my question.
Like,
Why should
where
I
do you
answer
work, man?
yours?
What
You
is
didn't
it-
answer my question.
It is never
Do
okay
you-
to.
do
It is
you,
never
Matt
okay
Walsh?
to intentionally and directly
It's
kill an
very
innocent
simple.
human child. Period. That's my position.
It's
What I'm
very
asking you
simple.
is.
But that's
do you
not answering
consider-
the question,
do
man.
you
Come on.
consider-
Look at how painful he's making this for Matt Walsh. Technique number one we've learned from this. Withhold an irrelevant answer, even if you've got it. If you want to demonstrate that you've got an answer, sure, demonstrate that you've got an answer, but don't allow the conversation to be about that. If you find yourself using more than half a sentence to give your answer, the other half of which should be, but that's not what we're talking about, then don't bother saying anything about it. Force them to talk about what you are talking about. Thing number 2, be willing to leave. Show them the disrespect of the sight of your back. Look at his body language. Let me tie this in. Instead of number 2 being be ready to leave, which I think is fine, but I don't think that's more about personal health and debate. How about this? Mock them for not answering your question. There's technique number 2 for winning the debate. Easily used technique number 2. Easily used. Mock them for not answering the question. Here's an easy way to mock somebody for doing that. Why aren't we talking about the question I asked? Why aren't we talking about the point I made? You are now talking about a different thing. Why is that? Are you unable to answer the question? Are you uncomfortable answering the question? Do you not want to say out loud what your answer is to that? Do you know what I'll respond? Do you know that you're wrong? If you know that you're wrong, why do you hold these beliefs? If you don't have the courage This is you having a conversation with a random person. If you don't have the courage to say what you believe out loud to me, how dare you ask me to believe it too? If it's such a vile belief that you hold that you can't say it out loud, why would you dare ask me to support that? Why would you dare support it yourself? Mock them for not being able to answer your question. Mock them for fleeing to the Gish Gallop instead of being serious about politics. They deserve your mockery then.
We both know that you're dancing around this. Come on.
Do you consider an unborn child?
I'm not
to be a
answering
human
that
being
until
or
you
not?
answer my question. You didn't answer it.
Okay.
You didn't answer.
And number 3 is the being willing to walk away. Sorry I did that out of order. I'm not answering that till you answer what I said. Matt Walsh does the frustrated, oh, okay. Oh, this guy's unreasonable. I know how I'm going to pitch this. I'm going to go, okay. Man, I've got him so beat he can't. He never answered the question. This guy, not letting him get away with doing that smarmy little, okay. Not letting the guy in the crowd who tried to clap for Matt Walsh's little performative nonsense. That guy who doesn't actually understand politics at all but only reads body language. Yeah, Alec Gunter is hitting Matt Walsh with the body language too. He's restating the cause of their friction over and over and over and over and over and over again, and it never ceases to be true, and Matt Walsh has no answer. Because Matt Walsh is a goddamn monster.
Answer it. I don't have to answer your question. Who's asking? Are you guys in line for a question or to be asked a question?
I know you don't.
I'm just wondering.
Okay. Here's what we've
It's okay,
established
man.
here.
Take a minute to think about it. I'll get you the next rally.
Okay, let's.
Oh,
That
and
was-
the laughter.
Despite what it may seem, that was actually quite an informative exchange.
Yeah, no. It definitely seemed like an informative exchange. No doubt about that. Oh, my word. Let's recap. What have we learned from Alec Gunter just then? Arguably more in that 4-minute clip than I've accomplished in a full year, nearly a full year, of streaming this show on YouTube. And I'm proud of this show. Truly. In my life, of the things I'm proud of, this show ranks pretty darn high on the list. But Alec Gunter right there just demonstrated 3 rhetorical techniques that we can all use, and I recommend we all take advantage of. Number 1, don't let them run away. Don't let them run away from a question. If they're trying to, it's because they do not have an answer that they are comfortable sharing. Whether it's because they're trying to hide an answer or they just don't know. They're trying to make it seem like they know without actually having an answer. And too much of our politics is dictated by people who behave that way. Don't let them run away. Thing number 2, mock them for trying to run away. Mock them for trying to flee from you. Make it exceedingly obvious that this person is not an honest actor. It is for their benefit, so they realize that is what they're doing, and they realize they are seen, and they realize that they must have an answer for the question you have asked if they are to be taken seriously ever, or they must simply bow out of politics. It's also for the benefit of everybody watching. Make it very, very clear, including to this guy, where the failure is in the conversation. The failure is on the part of the coward who will not address the question. They don't have an answer. At least not when they're willing to share in polite company. Third thing, be willing to walk away when they have demonstrated they're a clown. Don't give them a moment to mine, to say, this is how I won. I know. He said 90 times Answer the question, why should a 13-year-old be forced to risk her life to give birth? But I got him to say, I don't know when World War II ended, and so I'm the winner. Don't give them that chance. Once you have embarrassed them appropriately by mocking them for being fools and frankly cowards, be willing to let everybody know that you're done with this rhetorical beating. That they're not able to fight back. Contender can't hold their hands up in defense. And so it's a TKO. And you're the victor. Alec Gunter TV. I would recommend subscribing. I have seen exactly one video by this person, and I am a fan. Hopefully they won't let me down. Hopefully they don't have terrible other videos. But on what we have seen alone, Alec Gunter TV, you just made a fan out of your old pal Jake. Let's see what the Wicked community has to say. Anti-corporatist. I just happened to be checking things out. Oh, geez. My 3-hour-old video, my 3-hour-old short has 2.5 thousand views. Yes, sir. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. The anti-corporatist. This whole topic just gets... Seriously, that's a good poll, man. The anti-corporatist, this whole topic just gets me so steamed. How much trouble would we be in if we slipped tapeworms into all their meals? I mean, I wouldn't want to do that to tapeworms. Global solidarity, debate time, maybe. We're going to have a call-in show this evening at 9 p.m. If you are so interested in getting in a finicky, nitpicky debate with a goofy Lithuanian, I welcome it. Tinkerbell. Legally, rights cannot be given to a person until they are born. If you grant personhood to a fetus, you end up allowing really dire situations to befall a certain percentage of the people giving birth. 100% correct. I think you're quite right. And also, what he was talking about, Gunter, there, is not appreciated enough. Let me tell you where my stance on abortion came from. And my feelings about it have shifted this way and that. But at the end of the day, a person has to have a right to an abortion because you cannot, outside of the draft apparently, you cannot ask somebody else to risk their own life for anything. If I want to jump across the Grand Canyon, I can take a whack at it. I cannot force somebody to go with me. And that's the crux of the issue. Even if you're right, you cannot give legal rights to a person before they're born for lots of practical reasons. One of them being the mother could claim self-defense in the abortion, and she wouldn't be wrong. I think, in fact, self-defense is the fundamental basis for why all anti-abortion laws should be challenged. It's self-defense. It's dangerous to give birth. I don't know why everything else in the conversation is interesting. Everything else in the conversation is worth having a discussion about if you truly feel a certain way about it. But there is no point in having a legislative conversation about this at all if you cannot get past the self-defense argument. Put it this way, if I was endangering my father and he shot me to survive, and he made that choice, you can have your own conversation about whether or not he should have, but you cannot have a conversation about whether or not he has broken the law. He hasn't. If I was putting his life in danger and the only way to save himself with certainty was to shoot me, doesn't matter that I've been born and lived a couple of decades out in the fresh air. Self-defense. My dogs are goth. Hello. Oh, look, it's an actual cloud. Yes, an actual cloud. Good to see you. Glad you've made it down to the void. Global solidarity. The system is what it is. Individuals are innocent. I agree. The anti-corporatist, my best friend, was adopted, and we had some heated debates on it. But yeah, forced labor, that's just barbaric. I agree. My dogs are goth. They want to control women. It's the only thing that makes sense because everything else about equal lives, safety from guns, proper support means nothing to them. To be continued, my dogs. I'm gonna return to you in a second. Tinkerbell, half my career was in high-risk pregnancy care. It makes me furious how little the loudest people understand the reality of pregnancy as a medical process. I agree. And let's go back to my dogs are goths point. I'm going to reread that. They want to control women. It's the only thing that makes sense because everything else about equal lives / safety from guns / proper support means nothing to them. Here is my working theory for Republican politicians, and please understand that it is very different from Republican voters. I think Republican politicians talk about the things they talk about and endanger the groups they endanger because they operate like Hamas. Because they know it will get us to fight. It doesn't mean we give up and we don't fight. No, we have to. But we need to learn to fight so efficiently that we take them out, the Republican politicians, that they are no longer viable choices, that there's no chance they can be elected because the public has been made perfectly aware of how monstrous they are. Why do I think they act this way? Because if they were seriously trying to convince people, they would use different rhetoric. But they don't. They want to say something that will get lots of people mad. And while we are mad, they steal from us. While we are mad about taking away abortion rights, and while their voters who have been lied to, frankly, are excited to take away abortion rights, neither of us are talking about how they're stealing from us. And that's the scam. And that's what Hamas does. Hamas attacks a concert, and they do it both to damage people they don't like. That's just a fun little thing they get to do. Followed by a disproportionate right-wing response that is poorly targeted. Hamas then gets an additional benefit, more recruitment, more dead Israelis as they go in to fight. So on and so forth. And that is how Hamas continues. And it might change names. It might be called Al-Qaeda 2 or whatever. But, I mean, our terrorists are no different. And that is all Republican politicians are. They are a criminal organization. Global solidarity, having God on your side is a powerful emotion. I truly mean this. And I'm not going to talk about it more in this video. But one of the things that offends me most about Republican politicians is their blaspheming and their use of God as a concept, which I don't personally believe in, but I understand to be an incredibly serious matter. Their casual use of it to gain personal power. We will be talking about this. I'm going to do a separate video on this. But it is a level of disrespect that I can't forgive. Christy Z, free Palestine. Hell yes. My dogs are goth. 100%, Jake. Well, thank you. Tinkerbell also in agreement. I appreciate it. Oh, Mars Falcon's here. When'd you come in? Hey, Wireless Mike, good to see you. Did Mars Falcon pop in here? Why don't I see? Oh, because I don't have the right chat on. Sorry. At least half of the, Mars Falcon says, at least half of the pro-life, anti-choice movement have never thought their position through for longer than 10 seconds at a time. True. They screech what they're told to screech in, what they're told to screech to fit into their clique. True. And that's a problem, but in my opinion, it is not as big of a problem as the con artists. Speaking of, all that earlier segment, that was just a little cherry on top. Let's get to the Sunday, because we've got a good one, folks. Set it up. Oh, I am going to attempt to run ads now. Speaking of, it should be 30 seconds. I just want the viewing experience to be as close to the same as I can get it for YouTube Premium subscribers as I can for not YouTube Premium subscribers. Incidentally, I'm at risk here, folks. I'm at risk of losing views. I ask you to only save this link? Oh, apparently not. Oh, yes. Here's the first episode of Frasier for free on YouTube. I just like sharing with you guys free shit. Let's take advantage of the internet. Paramount Plus wants you to watch Frasier, and so they've put on YouTube for free the first episode of a beloved 90s sitcom. Enjoy that, and on an unrelated note, hopefully I can get him to play. Here's some ads. If you're watching, did I see your email? Wireless Mike, we'll get back to you in a moment. If you're watching during the ads, I just want you to know I'm setting up the next segment. Should take about 30 seconds. Oh my God, I do truly love that Matt Walsh looked so foolish. There's few things better on planet Earth than an embarrassed con artist. Oh, I sincerely hope this guy finds his way into a jail cell. He deserves it. I don't have anything particularly profound to add while we wait for the commercial break to finish. I just want to be very clear. He's gotten people killed, and he deserves condemnation. And truly a prison cell. Wireless Mike, did I see your email? No. I'm looking through my emails now. I do not see your... Oh, yes, I do. Oh, my God. I just... All right. Well, we're waiting for the commercial to wrap. Look, when I blaspheme, I feel bad about it. And that's how you know it's genuine. I genuinely meant it when I said it. But I shouldn't. I just don't like these con artists who go too far. Tinkerbell, YouTube Premium is like my one splurge on myself since I work from home and listen to long-form content all day. I signed up for YouTube Premium because when they launched YouTube Music, it was the same price. It's $10 a month, and it was the same price as Spotify was at the time. And I was like, well, why would I not get video and audio? And from there, I've just never gone back. It is definitely a splurge. It's an unnecessary expense, but it is fun. An actual cloud, not seeing ads. Oh, well. If you want to support the show, please consider carving my face into the side of the moon with a laser beam. Otherwise, just hit like and it'll help me out. Environmental Coffee House. Hi, Christy. I'm working because I get ready for my 9 o'clock. I'm getting ready for my 9 o'clock. All right. Huh. An actual cloud. Confused. Didn't see ads. Well, you're way up there. You're not going to. All right. The anti-corporatists, probably a net loss for them, as all of them are rabid YouTube viewers. Could be. Pinker, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the anti-corporatist. Pinkerbell, it's not my only splurge, but it's probably my favorite. It's only $22 for me. I have 6 members of the family on my family account, if I recall correctly. Yeah. Very useful. All right, let's get on to the real stuff. Come on, y'all. Christy Z, I'll be watching. I'm so glad you're back on. I enjoy how you do your show best. Thank you. I'll be lurking at 9. Well, all right. Yeah, 9's going to be a call-in show. We do need people in the audience as well as calling in. And frankly, we're not going to get through a lot of calls. It's mostly so Foxy and I can talk about gag orders. And if anybody else wants to chat after that, it's going to be open. We're goofing. We're goofing around. I very much want to talk about this next thing. Now we're ready. Hey, gang. Oh, and wireless mic. I'm sorry. I just now saw your email. Yeah, we'll finish the show with that. That's amazing. I don't know anything else about it. I don't want to learn anything else about it. I want to react live with y'all. This is technically Friday Peace Talks. So, let's talk about that piece. But first, the hits just keep coming. Yesterday, Sidney Powell said, I just had an eyeful of the government's case against the traitors. I give up. Mate, I'm tapping. I give up. I'm pleading with the court to spare me because I can't win this fight. Probably a good decision because Kenneth Chesebro just did the same thing.
Another significant plea deal. I want to get straight to CNN's Nick Valencia in Atlanta. Nick.
Defense attorney for Ken Chesebro, Scott Grubman, tells CNN that we just...
It is only because that pocket square is atrocious that I will make fun of a physical attribute of this man should he be standing that close to an open balcony on a windy day with ears like that. Okay, all right, sorry. Jump in there, let him have it. Kenneth Chesebro taking a plea deal.
Saw video of Ken Chesebro signing a plea deal with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. We were under the impression that he was offered a deal, but the source familiar with those discussions happening last night said it was not clear whether Chesebro would take the deal. But now Scott Grubman telling CNN on the record just moments ago, Ken Chesebro.
Anybody else think Kenneth Chesebro has the haircut that all nervous Nazis have in movies?
The alleged architect of the fake electors plot in 2020.
I know, he's a nervous Nazi in real life. I'm just saying he has the movie nervous Nazi haircut to go with it.
One of the key attorneys here in promoting conspiracy theories and widespread voter fraud theories that were not true in the wake of the election loss of Donald Trump has now taken a plea with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. Make no mistake about this, Dana. This is a monumental win for Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. She now not only has 1 but 2 key witnesses against former President Donald Trump. And I'll toss it back to you as we get this courtroom underway. The judge now addressing the courtroom. We should hear the details of that plea agreement any moment now.
Do you understand that this is a negotiated plea, which means your attorneys and the state have reached a negotiated recommendation to make to the court?
I do.
Do you understand that the court is not bound by that recommendation and could sentence you to the maximum penalty for the charges?
I do.
Do you understand that the recommendation in this particular case as to count 15, conspiracy to commit filing false documents, is 5 years to be served on probation, a $5,000 fine, and that I believe you're asking the court to treat you as a first offender, is that correct?
Yes.
I'm sorry, $5,000 restitution. You understand that?
Yes.
And do you understand also special conditions of the probation is that you complete 100 hours of community service?
Yes.
And that you write an apology letter to the citizens of the state?
To be continued. I want to talk about that last thing. But first, let's talk about the second to last thing. He's got to do 100 hours of community service. it sucks that he's not going to, like, prison. He deserves to spend a full 10 years in whatever we have as the worst conditions to hold a human being. He should be up there with the murderers and the rapists and what have you, because he betrayed the country and tried to undo your vote in the world's most famous democracy. Technically, maybe. But a pampered little nothing like Ken Chesebro, the idea that 100 hours of his life will have to be spent making somebody else's life better for no financial compensation to that vile creature, it's gonna grind on him. The idea he might have to do some physical labor, never mind, it's just gonna be poking trash with a stick and putting in a trash bag or whatever. That is abhorrent to him. That will send him into a spiraling depression. When he's at like hour 20 and he realizes, oh my God, I've got weeks left of this, weeks left. Ugh. Helping people? Ugh. He might melt. He might actually melt like he looked at the Ark of the Covenant. Let's keep tabs on this. If I forget to update it, please somebody remind me. Let's make sure he gets real community service. Not something that you can just remotely say you did. Like, oh yeah, I sent out I don't know, socks that I knitted to these charitable organizations. I in no way paid a bunch of people to, I don't know, just buy socks from a store and send them someplace. Whatever he's going to try to do to get out of actually helping people. Because he will try to get out of actually helping people for just 100 hours. Let's make sure, at a minimum, he has to fulfill every obligation, including going by the side of the road and picking up trash with a little pointy stick. By the way, to me, that sounds like a fun afternoon, but that's how I know he would despise it with every fiber of his evil little being. Now, the other thing, the letter. Let's listen to that again.
State of Georgia,
Which I have, yes.
and that you write an apology letter to the citizens of the state of Georgia?
Which I have, yes.
Yes.
He said he wrote it already. Sidney Powell said she wrote hers too. I haven't been able to find him. I've been looking. I want to see what his apology says. I also want it to be clear, they've just agreed to put their fate in the hands of prosecutors. Once prosecutors get the testimony they have out of these folks, I want us to seriously consider the content of those apology letters. What did they apologize for? And did they truly apologize? I'm not going to question whether or not they meant it. Of course they didn't mean it. They tried to get away with this. They're only sorry that they got caught. We know that, but I want to hear them say what they did. I want to hear them acknowledging responsibility that is being forced upon them. They're not taking responsibility. But I want to hear them acknowledge the responsibility. What we need to do is make sure we get those apology letters, make sure we read those apology letters. In fact, we'll do it here on the show. I will read them as soon as they're available. We need to decide amongst ourselves whether they're satisfactory, and if they are not, we should give them a chance to write another one by talking to our representatives, talking to the court, and saying, if they don't write a better apology letter, if you don't advise them to sincerely apologize, then when it comes time for sentencing, you should ignore the plea deal. Because they haven't learned anything. And they are required to experience more punishment to learn their lesson. That's what we should prepare for. First, let's make sure those apology letters get released, and then let's read them. They have to be. They're apologizing to we the people, so we will get an opportunity to see them. Let's enjoy this downfall just a bit more.
And that you truthfully testify at all hearings and trials involving co-defendants in this matter, that you have no communication with co-defendants, witnesses, or the media until all cases have been resolved against all co-defendants.
Yes.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything for you to enter into this guilty plea?
No.
It is your decision to waive these rights and enter into this guilty plea because you are in fact guilty.
Yes.
How do you
Bada
plead to
boom.
count 15, conspiracy to commit filing false documents in indictment number 23 SC 188947?
Guilty.
Have you and your attorney signed that indictment?
Yes.
Your Honor, the indictment has been signed and the guilty plea has been. Is your guilty plea freely and voluntary given with full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yes.
Do you understand that you only have a limited right to appeal this guilty plea?
Yes.
And do you understand that you would have 4 years from today's date in order to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness of this plea?
I do.
And Your Honor, the state has, in fact, checked and confirmed that Mr. Chesebro does not have any felony convictions at all, so he has no criminal history to the state's knowledge. If this case were to go to trial, the state would have shown the following. Between November 18th of 2020 and January 6th of 2021, the defendant and co-conspirators, Donald John Trump, Rudolph William.
Let's just appreciate this, because we did this yesterday. I'm going to do less of an intro. These are the things they were going to prove in court that Kenneth Chesebro decided, I can't fight this. They got me. I'm acknowledging that all this happened. Really appreciate that when she breaks it down.
One, the defendant and co-conspirators, Donald John Trump, Rudolph William Louis Giuliani, John Charles Eastman, Ray Stalling Smith III, Robert David Cheeley, Michael Roman, and others entered into a criminal conspiracy to cause certain other co-conspirators, including David James Schaefer, Sean Micah Thrasher Steele, and Kathleen Austin Latham, to falsely hold themselves out as the duly elected and qualified electors for the president and vice president from Georgia following the November 3rd, 2020 presidential election. The objectives of the criminal.
On the off chance that we've got any right-wingers lurking, let me be crystal clear. Kenneth Chesebro just admitted that he lied to you about the election being stolen in 2020. If you believe that the election was stolen in 2020, now you should not. One of the people who was out there trying to make it look like there was a legitimate effort to overturn the election just admitted there was no legitimate effort. There was a criminal effort because he was lying. He was, in fact, conspiring. If you had a conspiracy theory about this, guess what? You was right. He was conspiring to lie to you about what happened. Did you fall for that lie? You want to be angry about it, you don't even have to be angry with yourself. You should be, a little bit. But you don't have to. You can just be angry at Kenneth Chesebro. And I recommend you do. I recommend you stay angry with him, because he lied to you about a hell of a lot. And the rest of the conspirators mentioned also lied. That, however, will be proven in court. Toot sweet.
No conspiracy included the following. 1, to recruit certain individuals to falsely hold themselves out as the duly elected and qualified presidential electors
Liar.
from Georgia. 2, to create false electoral college documents, including a false certificate of vote purporting to have been made by the authority of the duly elected and qualified presidential electors from Georgia. 3,
Liar.
to falsely state that co-conspirator Donald John Trump had won all of Georgia's electoral college votes. And 4, to deliver those false
Liars.
documents to the Georgia Secretary of State, the Chief Judge of the Northern District of Georgia, the Archivist of the United States, and the President of the United States citizen being the Vice President.
Liars. What was number 3 there? To falsely state that Donald John Trump won the election. To falsely state. In other words, to lie. Donald Trump lost the election. Kenneth Chesebro just admitted that. He also just admitted that he lied to you about that. You need to accept that fact and answer for it. If you are somebody who believes that the election was stolen, before you discuss anything else, you must discuss this. You must answer this. Why did Kenneth Chesebro just admit that he lied to you? Was he lying then, or is he lying now? If you, by the way, want to see the evidence for yourself, go ahead, watch the January 6th committee hearings. Unlike the committee hearings, if you're a fan of Donald John Trump, unlike the committee hearings you've seen, these actually presented evidence. There's an audio book you can listen to if you've got a free weekend that lays it all out. Or you can just look at the details of this case, the information they're going to release to the public. You can listen to Kenneth Chesebro's apology letter. But what you cannot do, person who theoretically is listening to this and supports Donald Trump, what you cannot do is ignore the fact that Kenneth Chesebro, an attorney that worked with Trump and is largely responsible for your belief that the election was stolen, just admitted in a criminal court that he lied to you. That you must address. That you cannot ignore.
The purpose of creating these and delivering these false documents were to disrupt and delay the joint session of Congress on January the 6th, 2021. By using the false documents from Georgia and other states in an attempt to cause Vice President Michael Pence to violate the Electoral College Act and the United States Constitution. This was part of a multi-state criminal conspiracy to unlawfully overturn the results of the November 3rd, 2020 presidential election in favor of the co-conspirator Donald John Trump, who did not win that election. Specifically pertaining to count 15 of the indictment, federal laws require the Electoral College documents are maintained in multiple places, including the United States District Court, and where the electors met and cast votes. In the Northern District of Georgia, electoral.
First of all, electoral. Second of all, she is doing a fantastic job. Mispronunciation of mispronouncing. See, it happens to everybody. Mispronouncing one word aside. Do understand that she knows that not only are almost everyone who will ever be a peer of hers, she's in the law profession, almost everyone who will be one of her peers is watching right now. Also, most of the nation, at least a good chunk of the nation, is watching. Think about how nervous you would be if you had to give up or get up and do your job, your normal everyday job, whatever it is you do, in front of 1 million people who are watching and scrutinizing everything you do. Set aside everything else you know or you think you know about this gal and just appreciate she's plugging along and doing a fine job with the full knowledge of how many people are watching. I got a lot of respect for anybody who is willing to do that. Good on her, and she's doing a fine job.
College documents are maintained in the clerk's office, administrative staff, with other non-case related documents, including standing orders and orders from the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. Documents maintained in the administrative safe are public records that can be inspected by members of the public, and members of the public can request certified copies of those documents that contain the clerk's official seal. Overt acts committed to affect this object of the conspiracy included, but are not limited to, the following. 1, the defendant created and distributed false electoral college documents to individuals in Georgia and other states in coordination with Donald John Trump for President, Inc., also known as the Trump campaign. The defendant provided detailed instructions to co-conspirators in Georgia and other states for creating and distributing these false documents. 3,
If you're wondering, what is Trump's trial going to look like in this? There it is. Yeah, I'll give it another listen.
created and distributed false electoral college documents to individuals in Georgia and other states in coordination with Donald John Trump for President, Inc., also known as the Trump campaign.
Created and distributed false documents, printed lies, fraudulent papers as part of their coup attempt. There are multiple phases of the attempted overthrow of the United States government, the attempted capturing of the United States people. They tried to capture us with paperwork. Think about that. They tried to make us prisoners in our own country, and they gambled. Their strategy was based on the fact that we wouldn't do anything and that our leaders wouldn't do anything, and they were almost right. If we had not jumped after our leaders, if we had not elected people, say, that put together the January 6th committee, I don't believe we would be having this moment right now. It disturbs me how close to correct they were, but let's stick to the point. What will Donald Trump's trial look like? What they just said, it will be the lengthy process of proving in court with evidence laid out meticulously what they just said. Why aren't they laying it out now? They don't have to, because the guy in question has admitted it's all true. He saw the evidence they had, and he's admitted it's all true. Rest of this is interesting, but I want to show you something else. This here. Trump co-defendant Kenneth Chesebro strikes, we're just going to look at the title, don't worry, strikes a plea deal with Georgia prosecutors. That's today. That's today. Want to see something that's not too terribly far back? Not too terribly far back. Kenneth Chesebro rejected plea offer ahead of Georgia election interference trial, says sources. One former, this is from, when is this? October 18th. This is from 2 days ago. One of former President Donald Trump's co-defendants in the Georgia election interference case rejected a plea deal from prosecutors ahead of his trial this month. Sources familiar with the matter told ABC News. Attorney Kenneth Chesebro, one of the 18 defendants charged alongside Trump in the Fulton County racketeering case, rejected an offer from prosecutors. The sources said the deal would have allowed Chesebro to avoid prison time by pleading guilty to one felony count of racketeering, the top charge in the indictment, according to the sources. He would have had to agree to testify against his co-defendants, including Trump, in exchange for 3 years probation and a $10,000 fine. You might have noticed. The terms of the deal also included a written letter of apology. The source says the deal would have been made under Georgia's First Offender Act, note that this was, under which the conviction would have been wiped from Chesebro's record after probation was completed. Couple of things to note. He didn't take the deal then, and the deal got worse. The deal got worse because he didn't take it then, if it is what it said there. It's unfortunate that he's still under the First Offender Act. They made a point to say, and First Offender Act, we know the normies won't really look into what that is. He's a first offender, right? Okay, so we're gonna wipe this. He can go back to being one of our masters as soon as his probation's up. He can go back to being royalty in the United States as soon as his probation's up. That sucks. That's an injustice. But it's worth noting, this is 2 days ago, folks. He rejected this deal last month. What happened this month? What happened the very next day after this came out, or rather after this came out? Sidney Powell flipped. On the eve of her trial, or the beginning, truly, Sidney Powell flipped, agreed to testify. Immediately following that, the very next day, Kenneth Chesebro flipped, agreed to testify. Pled guilty, admitted he did everything accused. 2 things you should know. Number 1, he believes that if Sidney Powell says everything she knows, he'll be incriminated. Thing number 2, he was willing to lie to us all. He was willing to lie to the courts in September. In September, he wasn't willing to take this deal. Is it because he didn't do it? No, it's because he thought he could get away with it. The deal got worse. It didn't get better. So it wasn't because the deal wasn't sweet enough. Because he thought he could get away with it. He cannot be allowed to practice law. He does not have the ethics necessary to practice law. I think that can be made crystal clear. He cannot be allowed to hold public office. He does not have the ethics necessary to hold public office. I don't care how we get it said officially. It needs to be said officially. And Kenneth Chesebro needs to be out of our lives forever. Enjoy opening up your, I don't know, small pottery stand under a different name after you grow out a big beard and start wearing a hat and hide your eyes. But your time, Kenneth Chesebro, as someone who is, for some reason, allowed to affect other people's lives in any way beyond bringing them their drinks when they ask for them in exchange for, hopefully, a tip, is over. By God, I'm just having an absolute ball with this. Oh my gosh, Wicked Foxy Dragon. I'm not sure, but Foxy saying she finds it hilarious that they had to write apologies. I will not try to overthrow the government. I wonder if he had to write, I will not try to overthrow the government again 500 times. All right. Sidney Powell's apology letter, theoretically? Nope. I just see this is just her signing the document, surely. Yeah, this is just her signed document. We're going to keep looking for that apology letter. In the meantime, what, Foxy, I don't think it exists yet, but when we find it, let's see what y'all have to say. Radical Centrist, hello, good to see you. Oh, God, Christy Z. Who's heard that Jank from TYT is running for president? Thoughts? Thoughts, it's not a serious campaign. He is not a serious candidate, and I'm deeply disappointed that he would waste our time with a stunt. I know why he said he wants to run for president. The only reason he does want to run for president is so people will pay attention to him. I thought he was better than that, but he's not. It's really disappointing. He is... He is not a villain, but he's certainly not one of the people helping. He's one of the people trying to profit off of a dangerous situation, and he should be looked down upon for that, in my opinion. Christy Z also saying, honestly, Auntie, I must admit, though, after Biden's handling of this Israel-Palestine disaster, I don't see how I can vote for him. Shocking to me. I hope we are offered another real option. I got to tell you, I love how he's handling this Israel-Palestine disaster. Are you kidding me? He went to Israel and told them, literally, what I wrote my mother a message saying, I hope Biden says this. He told them, do not make the same mistake we did after 9/11. That is exactly the message I was hoping we would convey to them. I think that is fantastic. I think his handling of this has been as good as I could have hoped for from anybody who is not themselves a well-known progressive. And even some of the progressives don't have realistic follow-ups, frankly, to the idea that we should not allow a genocide to happen because of an attack. But that said, if you got someone better than Biden, or if you find someone better than Biden, bring him up, certainly, because I'm always I don't know how to put this. I am so not loyal to the presidency that I would midterm be willing to switch them out if it were possible. I would be willing to switch them out during their "thank you for nominating me" speech if I just decided I didn't like the tone of their voice. That is how little loyalty to the presidency I have. Sign the bills we give you. Other than that, I don't care who or what you are, as long as the rhetoric is fine. The anti-corporatists, and I mean literally just like acceptable rhetoric. Don't bother us with saying weird like Trump did, and otherwise just sign the bills. The anti-corporatists. Sorry, Christy, I don't want to make it seem like I'm against you here. I find it an interesting opinion. By all means, flesh it out if you want. We'll talk about it. It's the kind of stuff I enjoy talking about with y'all. The anti-corporatists, yeah, the later you wait, the better the deal gets, unless someone else gets there first. Exactly. Pendulous Dragon. Got my old pal Jake on the big screen whilst I'm on the chat on my phone. Baby, that's living. That's the way to do it. I'm sorry we don't have a prettier mug. One day, I'll get, who was that gal we showed yesterday? Yasmin Aliyah Khan or something up here. Do your screen justice. But until then, I'm delighted that you're double streaming. Hell yeah. Christy Z, yeah, he really showed his true colors. Disgusting. Let me go up. Christy Z, every time he says, don't compare me to the almighty, compare me to the alternative, it raises my blood pressure. Yeah, that's an annoying line. But I don't see the what do you call it? I don't understand what he did that truly ticked you off, and I want to. Let me see, because this might be it. Christy Z, we're gonna get to I saw a funny thing that I want to go to, but first this. Oh no, I just saw it. The UN thing. Hold on, Christy. What, Jake? No, yeah, I very much like his response so far, but the fact that you don't is intriguing to me, and I want to see why that is. Let me go to that UN comment. Everybody be nice to me and stand by. Okay, he even vetoed the UN's attempt to get them aid while giving Israel $8 billion. I hate him now. The aid thing, you're right, is foolish. And I don't want to say despicable, because I don't think he understands the nuance enough to have meant that to maybe. I don't want to give him undue credit either. I didn't think it was the end of the matter, which is a classic Biden move, but I'm not going to try to defend it. Blocking the aid, that's dumb. That's horrible. And that's terrible. You're right. And I don't like that. However, what was part 2 of that? Good things about the book. Hold on, Christy. I'm reading the other. There we go. While giving Israel $8 billion. That $8 billion is earmarked It's not to just fill up your armory. It's specifically to defend against incursions from neighboring countries, which may use this as a second attempt to start off a 7-day war or 7-day war 2. But honestly, Christy, if you have a chance, if you're down for it, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you're making interesting points, and I don't think in the way we're talking, it's going to be fair to you because you've got to type all this out, and then I get to respond indefinitely on a mic. We're going to have a show at 9 o'clock, and I want a critique of Biden from the left, a genuine critique of Biden from the left on this Israel-Palestine thing. If you're down for it, swing on by. We'll talk about it because this is useful, and this is how my politics, frankly, gets better. Is I get challenged by you guys, and then I look into it, and I see if I'm right or if I'm wrong by whatever I'm looking at, and yada yada. That's how it works, and I find it useful. So consider calling in. Christy Z, Israel has dropped 6,000 bombs over Gaza. Gaza is like 20 miles long. Yes. Yeah, Israel's actions are abhorrent. But I think our disagreement is largely going to come over what is Biden responsible for there. Did Biden stop them from doing that? See, Christy Z, there's so much I can't type it all. Oh my God, I'm screaming in my house right now. Call into the show if you're down for it. Oh, I got you. Excellent. Yes. All right, we'll pick it up there. Mars Falcon pulled out of Afghanistan. Drone strikes fell off a cliff after historic highs. Yeah. Biden is maddeningly institutional, but he's so much better than the best Republican, in my opinion. To be continued, Mars Falcon. I'm a dark Brandon fan and a mild Biden put up with her. But to be continued. It's the call-in show. You're right, Environmental Coffee House. What is the other thing? I want to go back to dunking on the guy that we all agree deserves to be dunked on. Where the hell is it? Here we go. Oh, Deborah Kempthorne. Good to see you. Missed your shows, Jake? Well, I missed having you at the shows. I missed him too. Radical centrists, of course, this would be very, very uncomfortable to any given MAGA, and they would only conclude, yep, whole justice system must be corrupt everywhere. Yeah, I think so. But if that's what they do conclude, then they are bowing out of it. And I'd rather just have their grubby little hands nowhere near it. FG, that's fair, oh, wait. Sorry, it's in reference to something else. Environmental Coffee House, you're very good at this, Jake. I'm really enjoying it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do, at the end of the day, consider myself more a producer than a in-camera person, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. You want to know what this is like? It's the whole of this show just ends up being like the last 30 seconds before you go live in a newsroom. This is the kind of screwing around we do with with the talent when they're in front of the thing at the desk. If you can get them to laugh, particularly if it's a dark news day, if you can get a chuckle out of them right before you go live, perfect. That's the energy you want. Hey, we got so much, folks. Let's keep enjoying the downfall of horrible human beings, of just the worst monsters we've ever made. The way they're going out is, I mean, Shakespearean. The difference, if you're talking structurally, like you take opinion out and you're just going for the academic definition, the difference between a tragedy and a comedy, if I understand correctly, is not whether or not you laugh. It's actually whether or not the audience is meant to know what will happen. If you are, then it's a comedy. And oh, wait. Do I have that reversed? Anyway, this is funny because the Republicans screwed themselves over in a predictable way. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know how I was going to get there. Let's do the recorded part, huh? Y'all, it turns out, to the shock of, let me just check, no one after yesterday. Jim Jordan won't be Speaker of the House.
Jim Jordan is no longer running to be Speaker of the House. This follows this morning's third failed vote of the full House, and then, just moments ago, a secret ballot of House Republicans behind.
Did you hear that? Did you catch it? There was a first, to start it off, there was a first failed vote of the full House. He didn't get Danny. He didn't get either of the Olsen twins. He didn't get Uncle Jesse. Not one of them couldn't pass the full House vote.
Closed doors.
DJ.
I want to bring in NBC's Ryan Nobles, who is on Capitol Hill, and Elise Jordan, former aide in the George W. Bush White House and an MSNBC political analyst. Well, Ryan, what a day. What happened?
Well, what happened was this morning after Jim Jordan lost the third ballot on the floor of the House of Representatives, he called all the Republicans into a closed-door meeting here in the bowels of the Capitol and asked for a secret ballot, just a straight up or down vote. Do you want me to still be your candidate as Speaker of the House? And through that private ballot, the Republicans in the conference really expressed their feelings. 112 Republicans said, no, we don't want you to continue on as our Speaker nominee, while only 86 said, yes, we want to stick with you. And as a result, Jim Jordan backed out. He said that he would no longer put his name in as a potential speaker designee for the Republican conference. And they're basically back to square one. The plan now is that all these members have the opportunity, any one member of the conference has the opportunity to submit their name as a potential candidate for speaker by Sunday night. They plan to hold another candidate forum here in Washington Monday night at 6:30 with the possibility of taking yet another nominee to the House floor as soon as Tuesday morning. But we have to keep in mind when we talk about this, Chris, that even if another candidate emerges, and even if that candidate is successful in winning over the majority of votes inside a closed-door Republican conference, they still have to get 217 votes on the floor. There is still no one that has emerged in that space. We've already heard a few names pop up saying...
Yeah, let me interrupt
go ahead,
you,
Chris. Yep.
because while you were speaking...
Oh, God. All right.
Kevin Hearn from Oklahoma told NBC News his name will be put in.
Oh, they're eating that corpse fast, huh? I don't want to get too excited because it's unlikely. It's unlikely. However, the real chance that Hakeem Jeffries will be Speaker of the House. Now, you know, not unlike Biden. I'm not trying to pull it back to the other thing. In fact, I'm eager to hear some advanced dunking on of Biden later. But not unlike Biden, I'm not a huge fan of Hakeem Jeffries' politics. From what I've seen, how he acts without a guiding hand. But would I prefer the worst of the Democrats to literally any Republican? Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Hakeem Jeffries. Hell yeah. Get up there, you neoliberal king. Fucking guy that I probably could not get through a full meal with. Yes. You get you the speakership. Folks, if only to really make the Republicans look incompetent. Let's try all of our sneakiest tactics to get enough Republicans to just stay home. Just stay home. It's like a microcosm of 2024. We are just trying to get these folks to stay home. Here's what, if you want to write them honestly, if you don't want to be tricky, if you're not comfortable not lying, but letting them believe an untruth, let's say, if you just want to have an honest conversation, write in and say, listen, I won't hold it against you if you stay home. I don't want there to be another government shutdown. I don't want to wonder where our military aid is going to go. I just realized I'm going to lose the Biden argument because of something I will have to bring up. He hasn't had an opportunity to. All right. He hasn't had an opportunity to truly disappoint me, I just realized, and he will. Okay, well, I'll go take my licks later. But you write them and you say, I don't want all these embarrassing things to keep happening. Just stay home. Let the Democrats elect their person. I will not hold you responsible for that. I will hold Kevin McCarthy and Jim Jordan responsible for that. Only those two. Only those two. I will not hold you responsible if you just stay home. Don't participate in this clown show. Let the Democrats take control of the House, technically. At least take control of the speakership. Let them be the face of all the failures that will happen. It's hard. It's hard to organize Republicans. Make them have to do it. And make them look embarrassed when things do go wrong. Make it their problem. You don't have to mention that you will not vote for them regardless. If you want to be sneaky, you can just say, Jim Jordan is embarrassing President Trump. I don't want you to show up. If you want to be sneaky, you can say, the MAGA folks are making MAGA look bad in the House. I don't want you to support that embarrassing situation anymore. I want you to protest by staying home. Whatever you think is more likely to work. But Indian head bobble, what you get out of it. Hakeem Jeffries. Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. Yes, sir. Oh, I'll take it. Do I like that he's Nancy Pelosi's chosen? No. No, I don't. Do I like that he loves big business? Not. He's gotten better, actually, but not been much of a friend to progressives at every opportunity that he's had. No. But do I think it will be hilarious, genuinely hilarious, to watch Kevin McCarthy's eye twitch furiously as Hakeem Jeffries orders him to hush and go to his place? Yes. And I very much want that. Oh, God, y'all, I'm having too much fun today. Thank y'all for being here. Let's keep watching this clown loose. For the record, Jim Jordan is an actual traitor to the country. And if he would have been speaker, we would have had legitimately dangerous year ahead of us.
Tell us about him. Tell us about, as you were saying, other possibilities.
I can tell you about him. He's some clown, but he's somewhat less of a clown, which is why he hasn't been mentioned before today. Okay, let's see how this guy phrases it.
Yeah, so Kevin Hearn, who actually had floated his name a couple of other opportunities as potentially a candidate for speaker when he was pitching himself as a consensus candidate. He is a conservative. He would definitely be in line with some of the hard right members of the party at this point. The other name that's being floated, in fact, he's already confirmed to our Julie Sirkin that he's in the race, and that's Austin Scott. He is the backbencher from Georgia who surprised everyone by putting his name up against Jim Jordan a couple of days ago and was able to collect more than 80 votes.
You know what's making me happy is I'm not hearing about the retired Marine in northern Michigan who is a legitimate security threat. I'm glad I'm not hearing about him anymore. On a related note, hey, other Michiganders, northern Michiganders, get your shit together. You got a traitor representing you right now. Deal with it, please. You have 1 year. Find literally anyone better. Turn to your neighbor. Do they have the ability to fog glass with their breath? Some evidence of a heartbeat and a soul? Are they not an actual Nosferatu? That's a better candidate than that guy in Bergman.
So there's also Jack Bergman, who is a senior member of the caucus, who has pitched himself as a candidate that would only serve up until the end of this particular Congress as kind of a bridge builder, someone to just get them to the next stage of this conversation, not somebody that's interested in the job long term. So those are three names we have right now. There's also a whole host of potential names that could be potentially bandied about over the weekend. These are not people that have officially expressed interest, but just names that people have talked about. Of course, Tom Emmer of Minnesota, who's currently the Republican majority whip. You have the name Jody Arrington, who runs the Budget Committee from Texas. He comes from Texas, which is the largest Republican delegation. He could potentially be a strong candidate. So there are many other names. Mike Johnson of Louisiana, who's also a very well-known conservative and has a lot of support amongst conservatives.
I'm trying to say nice things about politicians I don't broadly support. Not whether I like them as people or not. Almost all of these fucking creatures, I would, if given the option, just put them all in a stadium and lock them up until we need, like literally lock them in a stadium until we need them to vote. Not because I believe they all deserve to be imprisoned. I don't want to run the risk of accidentally seeing one out of the corner of my eye if I can all help it. But I'm trying to say nice things about politicians that I don't support more and more, simply because there's a finite amount of hate that a human heart can hold, I feel. That a human is able to hold on to. And I want to save basically all of it for Trump and his cronies. I want to make sure I have enough hatred in the tank, enough venom to properly tear into those traitors. So let me say what I like, or really just Trump and his cronies, the worst of them, the people that genuinely participated in an active coup against the United States. I will say something I like about all of these people. Something I noticed. There's a through line through all of these potential leaders of the House. And again, I stress, try to convince all of our Republicans to stay home and talk to all the Democrats and make sure they don't. But something I like about all these people is that none of them are Jim Jordan. Because him, that's why. Oh, I can't wait. Wait. Christy Z, Mars. Is Darth Vader still alive? No, sort of. Anakin's a Force ghost now. That's confirmed. Anakin is a Force ghost. A Force ghost. Whether or not you consider that alive is a matter of debate. He is no longer corporeal, but he is able to affect the world. And if certain extended universes, sources get brought back, then you can take a Force ghost and allow them to tangibly affect things. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Public utility. Can't win national elections. Dem Party will block 100%. I don't quite follow all the context. But that sounded damn savvy. Mars Falcon. With Hitler dead and gone, who could possibly be... All right, let me take another whack at that. Mars Falcon. With Hitler dead and gone, who could possibly be a unanimous consensus Republican candidate for Speaker? It's a great question. Public utility. These fringe candidates are not viable. I don't know who is. I honestly don't know who is. I do know this. I want to start playing fantasy football with y'all. Christy, Public Utility, The Anti-Corporatist, Pinkerbell, Mars Falcon, Gulf Coast Grit. Good to see you, Gulf Coast Grit. All of you, I want to start playing like fantasy football with scumbag Republicans. I desperately want to do that. Let me know how we would structure that, because I don't even really get how fantasy football works. Radical centrist. Been watching Ahsoka. Ahsoka, what you can do. Here's the thing. I stopped watching the Clone Wars like halfway through, and I've just never really picked it back up, including all of Star Wars Rebels and most of the Ahsoka stuff. I've seen clips. I have seen clips, and I do want to, but I'm also lazy and, unfortunately, quite poor. Quite poor. Mars Falcon, he turned to the light side, Christy Z, fully disqualified for Republican leader. Yeah, unfortunately, at the end, he did get disqualified. They started calling him a rhino after he threw the Emperor down the shaft. My dogs are goth. West, Jank, and Williamson will be out soon. I agree. Yeah. I don't think, by the way, hear me out, I don't even think it's 100% guaranteed that Biden will be the nominee next year. Generally, truly, that of the many reasons I don't really bother. Sorry about the awkward view for a second. I don't really bother all that much with Biden. Is he may simply just not run. I know he said he will. He may not. He is a big fan. I've been watching this guy. God help me. Pretty close. He is a big fan of not committing to nothing. Really not committing to making a change. Until he has no choice but to tell everybody that's what he's done. And just watch. First things first. If Trump is a significant candidate, if Trump is really going to be the nominee for the Republican Party, then I would assume Biden will be the nominee. But if Trump is very clearly not going to be the nominee after a certain point, and there's a reason I've been putting so much love and care into the Vivek Ramaswamy talk. We'll go into that in a moment. But that changes things significantly. Jade Dragon, good to see you. Greetings from Skyrim. Oh, you and I are birds of a feather, my friend. There is few things I enjoy more than an immersive RPG in front of my eyeballs and with the volume turned somewhat down, and a political podcast in my earballs. My dogs are goth. Andor was so good. I'm loving all of these. I'm about to get shredded a little bit. I loved the Book of Boba Fett. I don't care what people say. It was fun to me. I really loved The Mandalorian. I did see that. I don't know why I haven't seen Ahsoka now that I say this. Oh, I do know why. I loved the Obi-Wan show. I loved Andor. I didn't hear about Ahsoka until my Disney subscription was bounced. So, if I can pirate it, I will. Christy Z, I haven't had a cigarette in like 2 months, but you got me so worked up about Biden and Israel, I want one. Don't do it, Christy. Christy, don't do it. I'll tell you what I do. I've been getting real into toothpicks. I would recommend that. It's good for musing over. You don't get the exhale, but you do get the little moments, you know? I would recommend. You need to survive at least till tonight, because I want an education from you. The points you're making are ones I can tell I agree with, and I realize I'm going to have to present you with information that I hadn't considered. You will have a layup ahead of us, but I want to get my ass whipped properly and publicly. Make of that what you will. Pendulous Dragon. He's got one foot on a banana peel and the other in the grave. Yeah, I'm trying not to be indelicate, but God might decide for us, is all I'm saying. There's not a lot of sand left in that glass. Radical centrist. Lots of timely anti-fascist themes in Andor. True. Be ready, Jake. Oh, I'm going to be. I'm more. The more I think about it, the more I think it might be more accurate to say braced, but I'll still try to make a case, as I said I would. I really wish I hadn't committed to that specifically. The anti-corporatist, I'm about an hour shy of completing a 48-hour fast. Good God. Domenico, good to see you, man. What you could do, I am with you. It's good to see you. We're just talking about the downfall of a lot of genuinely bad folks. The anti-corporatist, I'm about an hour shy. Oh, he said that. Good on you, man. All right, last one before we go into a strange segment. Public utility. The ads show up online, and the YouTube psychos have rigged how I am able to reject them. Oof. Okay, well, tell you what, folks. I'm going to run one more ad. I'm going to attempt to run one more ad. If you see an ad, don't worry. I'm going to be wasting time for a full 60 seconds as I try to set up and fail multiple times the next segment. You won't be missing anything. Enjoy siphoning money from YouTube. They've already been paid for these ads. So here's some capitalist nonsense that I in no way endorse, but will absolutely take money from. Are you seeing an ad right now? I hope you are. I hope so. We'll see. I clicked the button. Enable monetization. I did enable monetization. Hold on. Insert mid-roll ads manually. Yeah. Hopefully you all are seeing a commercial right now. We're going to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy. I've been having such a good time talking to Ramaswamy supporters. And I will tell you why. Oh, hey, here's something else. If you want to enjoy yourselves, well, for 30, or now about 15 more seconds. This is free. That's a stand-up comedy special, free on YouTube. It is called Joe Pera Fully Engorged. I don't know what it's called, but it's good. It is very funny. I got a little choked up at the end. I'm not going to lie. But Joe Pera is an alternative comedian. He's got a special that's free on YouTube. Enjoy that. He's also, by the way, subversive and political in a way I think you will appreciate. Public utility. I get a little satisfaction by going through the process of blocking every ad I'm able. Good. Fuck them up. I don't. Look. These capitalist piggies. If we can swindle money out of them by just viciously playing by the rules, good. Let's do it. If you can somehow get them to give me money, but you don't take in any other content, great. If you can just get to enjoy my content, even if I don't get any money, but you can make sure that the ads don't play, good. I hate ads. I hate them so much, but I like them as a business concept. It makes it possible to have things free, and the way YouTube does it, I don't know what's playing. I hope we get ads for a Steven Crowder show. I would love for him to finance me saying what a horrible person he is. I hope we get re-election ads for Matt Gaetz. I would love for him to waste money he can't afford on that. Christy Z, no ad. Well, then what the fuck am I doing? Okay. Gulf Coast Grid. Play the game, grab the bag. Ads help Jake, I think, though. Yeah, they do. I get paid. I get paid by not you guys. But if you can get around them, get around them. Nothing at this level, y'all. At this level, nothing is going to help me out more than just liking the stream, sharing the stream, mentioning it in other popular lefty streams. That genuinely will financially help me. But skip every ad you can. Let's swindle these motherfuckers. And what I like about YouTube is that it's competitive, but they allow us to do that if we so choose. And good. All right. Good. We will take money from these folks. Part 3 of the Ramaswamy talks. Why am I doing this again? After specifically telling you that Vivek Ramaswamy is not worth your time. I'm talking to everybody, frankly, that watches this video, including the Ramaswamy supporters. But for a moment, let me address the regulars if you are a visiting Ramaswamy supporter. And hey, don't get bored. It's good for you to understand the way your opposition operates and the way we think. Folks, wicked community. Why am I talking about Ramaswamy again after saying he wasn't worth your time? He's not. I think his supporters might be. I think they might be worth your time. Not all of them, sure. But if you are a Vivek Ramaswamy supporter, what are you? A conservative who doesn't support Trump. Worth considering, isn't that? Worth considering. Worth talking to. Now, again, you have to separate. Are they being serious? Do they like them for real reasons? Whether those reasons are simply perceived or they are actual tangible facts. Or are they just using a love of Ramaswamy as a cover for getting away with dastardly things? I have given multiple segments to this politician I do not like and I do not think is worth anybody's time because I think his supporters are worth our time. And if we are unable to convince them that Vivek Ramaswamy is trying to scam them, because I believe that is the truth, we're unable to convince them of that, then wicked community, you and I need to work, and it's fine if this is the case, but we need to work on our pitch. First of we don't need to. We should. Let me try that again. We should work on our pitch if we're unable to convince these folks. Again, our strategy is to use the fact that we have the numbers. Right now, we could convince no Republicans to switch sides, and we'll win. We shouldn't settle for that. That's millions of people we're allowing to live in a delusion. Let's make it. Try this the other way. If you were living in delusion, would you want to be cured of that? I would. To that end, Vivek Ramaswamy supporters. If I'm delusional about this, I want to know. And I want you to tell me. I'm going to go through some of your comments that I think are coming from a sincere place. I might be wrong. Maybe you're going to break my heart. It's been broke before. Maybe you're going to break my heart and I'll find out you weren't serious. But I think just off the fact that I've seen names returning and you sat through me busting your balls, I think it's worth the effort to try, if only to say we did. So let's do it. As Guinevere said to Lancelot, let's do it. On Lady Shreds Ramaswamy 2, Vivek supporters request more pain. Again, I appreciate you sitting through my heckling. Jerry Vandervoort with some numbers says, "Sir, we came close to not being able to pay our own soldiers. 45-day extension. Vivek is not lying." Now, I did ask for him to talk about what he was talking about there. I said, when he said he wouldn't be beholden to donors because he was his own biggest donor, did that not cause you concern? If not, what about the point I made do you disagree with? You seem to be approaching this honestly. Okay, so then he says this. You said Vivek lied in his fear of Social Security not being there in years to come. I do not believe Vivek lied about this at all. Sorry I called you dude earlier. I will edit that. No, I very much am a dude. I've been going by they, them to screw with the algorithm a little bit, but it's okay. Between you and I, you can know I secretly do identify as a goofy-ass man. Here's why I feel, Jerry, that Vivek lied about Social Security. Let me go back up to what you said about it. Because on its face, you're not totally off. Sir, we came close to not being able to pay our own soldiers. 45-day extension. Vivek is not lying. So I see. Those are separate thoughts. With the not being able to pay our own soldiers, just so we're clear, I mean, let's make sure we're on the same page. You know that's entirely the fault of Republicans, right? They first of all, they are the ones only who ever shut the government down. That's not supposed to be a tactic we use. Second, they're entirely responsible for it this time. So much so that when McCarthy even did a deal with Biden to negotiate, we're talking about a different thing. We're talking about people other than Vivek. But you understand who's responsible for that, I hope. Moving on, Vivek. You said Vivek lied in his fear of Social Security not being there in years to come. I'm so glad you responded, man. I'm going to give you a heart for that. That's a rarity. Social Security not being there in years to come. I do not believe Vivek lied about this at all. I do believe he did, and here's why. He has made it seem like the options are Social Security gets cut down or it goes away when we run out of money. Here's the reality. There's a third option. It was originally part of Social Security. It was up until rather recently, as a matter of fact. I'm talking last 10, 15 years. And that is the cap on who has to pay for it. It works like this. If you make a certain amount of money, up to a certain amount of money, some of your money, if your income is withdrawn, and that pays for Social Security. But after a certain point, because of what Republicans, exactly like Vivek Ramaswamy, put in, no, there is no money put into Social Security. So what would you do? You would raise the cap. You get rid of the cap. Let me phrase this in a better way. Social Security cap. The limit on annual earnings subject to Social Security taxes is referred to as the taxable maximum, or the Social Security tax cap. For 2023, that maximum is set at $160,200, which, by the way, is an increase of $13,200 from 2022. In other words, they raised the cap to pay for Social Security, the cap on the taxable income. I realize this is boring. It is. I'm annoyed at Vivek Ramaswamy because it becomes necessary to have these boring conversations simply to keep something around that many people survive on. There's a lot of old grannies and grandpas out there whose kids tragically are not around to take care of them. Happens. They exist on Social Security. With what Vivek Ramaswamy is saying is necessary to preserve it in any form at all, a lot of those grannies and grandpas would simply lose their homes. In order to convince you that it's necessary for those old grannies and grandpas to lose their homes and to stand in a bread line for a meal, he has gone out of his way, Vivek Ramaswamy has, to not mention that a simple answer for this is to raise the cap to pay for Social Security. We're supposed to be doing that. As inflation happens, that is what is supposed to be happening. The cap is supposed to raise. Republicans went out of their way to make sure the cap does not automatically raise, and it's a fight every time you want to raise the cap, in order so that people like Vivek Ramaswamy can go out there and say, oh, this thing's running out of money. We're going to have to get rid of it, because they do not like paying for things that help people. They would rather rich people not have to pay any money at all to keep other people alive. Never mind the fact that their fortunes were built in a society where people are taken care of. They pay their taxes to build roads. They pay their taxes to have schools so the populace gets educated, and that billionaire can hire somebody who actually understands that 2 + 2 is 4. Never mind all that. They would pay for nothing. And they try to convince you that that's all that can be done, that they're just being fiscally responsible. They're not. They're being fiscally cruel. And if you stop and you look at what they are saying, on its face, it's nonsense. How about this? Remove the cap altogether. Make it so that a billionaire has to pay a little bit out of all the billions they earned to fund Social Security. And if it seems like too much to you, I would ask, do you make more than $160,000 a year? Because otherwise, 100% of your income has a little bit of it that goes to Social Security. Why does a billionaire have an easier time making money after he's already passed where you are now? Shouldn't it get harder the more money you have to make more money? As you get more and more, shouldn't it become more and more difficult to make more? The fundamental question. I think yes. I think it should. I think it should be very easy to make a reasonable amount of money. It should be a little tricky to become rich. And it should be extraordinarily difficult to become ultra rich, because we don't need ultra rich. We need a lot of people who are getting by with no sweat. Vivek Ramaswamy is in stark opposition to that. He has convinced you and others that it's necessary to inflict more cruelty through economic practices by making it seem like it's for your own self-preservation, but it's not. It's not. And in fact, when you have members of your family that can't quite make the cut, they're going to ask you to help them. And you probably will, because I'm assuming you have a heart and you love your family. So you'll be financing what should have been financed by your boss's boss. Do not vote for Vivek Ramaswamy. Next question. He stomped her with his answers. That's what was said. I didn't see the response, so I'll just say he clearly didn't. He ran away from her answers like a coward. I did the breakdown of this. I'm not going to go over it again. But he did the same thing that a fella, Matt Walsh, in an earlier segment did. He ran away verbally from the answers. She fundamentally asked him, why are you different than Trump? You're not, on paper, you're not qualified to be a high school principal, much less the president of the United States. Why are you better than Trump? He did not answer that question. What else is there to talk about? No, he won't be able to unless we have economic growth. To which I responded, he won't be able to what? Hit me with a timestamp or just type something out or just type what you're referring to here, and I'll respond. I don't see it. Now, that was 5 hours ago. I don't expect you to be mother-henning your YouTube account, but do write me at whatyoucando@wycdnetwork.com. One by one, I will address all of you. I will respond to that. He won't be able to, ? Just fill in that part, unless we have economic growth. I would like to find out what you're talking about. I believe you're being lied to, and I believe you're a sincere actor here. I think you genuinely are trying to figure this thing out. I think you have bad information, and if you don't, I do, and we got to figure this out. We have to know which of us is being lied to. I think we might even find out that we're both being lied to, a little bit or a lot. But I don't think I'm wrong. I think I've read these tea leaves correctly. Most of what I say is likely to happen, winds up happening, not because I'm a secret genius, but because I've got a group of people telling me what to look at. I invite you to tell me what to look at. One of us is wrong. Let's find out who. No shame if we're approaching it honestly. No shame. Who are you going to vote for? Was asked by on my tip. I'm trying to pronounce it as best as I can. Biden, as of now, was my answer. Who are you going to vote for? Is it still Ramaswamy? Was it ever Ramaswamy? Let me know. I hope if it ever was that it's not anymore. But at the very least, I hope I've made it clear why I think this guy is a con man. And if he is, if you can at least acknowledge that he lied to you about, say, Social Security by pretending there was no third option of simply asking the ultra wealthy, like Vivek Ramaswamy is, to pay the same share of their income that you do and I do. If you can acknowledge that, my question is, why would you listen to anything else he has to say? Because he tried to deceive you. Do you understand? He tried to lie to you. He tried to give you wrong information. He tried to trick you into voting for him. That is why you should not vote for him. That's why he could have good arguments about other things. Maybe. It's irrelevant. You cannot trust him. That's fundamentally why I think he is not worth any of our time. And whoever you are, that includes you. Folks, I had a freaking blast on this one, I'll tell you. I am going to read comments. I can't not. I just can't not. Too fun. Anti-corporatist, let me go up to public utility. Gotta go, try to return. Peace, fellow earthlings. Believe nothing, question everything important. Good point, public utility. I will see you around. My dogs are goth. I don't think Vivek has the same mean heart as DeSantis and Trump. Forgot. He's a poser. Still dangerous, but doesn't have the same hunger for pain of the others. Hey, Ramaswamy supporters, let me add this to you. Here's honest praise of Out the Trail. He's peaceful. He didn't ask people to harass that person that tore him to shreds. I respect that. And his fans are proving to be reasonable people. At least there's a decent enough percentage of you that you are raising my opinion of Vivek Ramaswamy. I'm impressed that he attracts a certain crowd. I will give that as genuine praise of Mr. Out the Trail. That said, my favorite of Hitler's inner circle was probably Albert Speer, because he had an appreciation of architecture. It's not exactly high praise to say he is amongst my favorite of the Republican presidential candidates, Vivek Ramaswamy, and he's still beaten by Nikki Haley. I don't like any of them. Wireless might. Wait, Jake. The video I sent you. Last thing we're doing. God dang it. That one, I want to see it. Sorry, y'all. No. We're. Thank you for reminding me, by the way. We're doing one last one before we go. Foxy, I'm going to be real with you. There's a decent chance we're going to start at about 9:15 instead of 9. Oh, lordy. All right. I hope this is what I think it is. It is what I think it is. I don't want to read anymore. Okay. I saw the thumbnail and I tried not to look at anything else because I'm like, oh, I've been waiting. Thank you so much, Mike. All right, we got one last one. Here we go. And F it. Let's just rock. Oh, it's an update on my least favorite mayoral candidate. Gabrielle Hansen, running in Tennessee. she's a fan of Nazis. She's a friend of Nazis. She's at the very least undeniably a business partner of actual Nazis. She invited, according to the actual Nazis, to come to her little her rally. And then she got embarrassed about the presence of actual Nazis who were near her at her rally. And then the Nazis, when she lied about being friends with them, the Nazis said, no, she asked us to come there. Here's an update from News Channel 5, and thank you to Wireless Mike for this one.
Informed, connected. This is News Channel 5 at 6.
Tonight, new video shows how the increasingly bizarre campaign for mayor in Franklin is being viewed by some as a spiritual war. Good evening. I'm Carrie Sharp.
And I'm Rory Johnston. That's right. We have video from a tent revival in Franklin late last week that shows how Gabrielle Hanson appears to believe that God is on her side. Well, critics say that's a wake-up call about the dangers of those now trying to gain political control.
I said specifically I wasn't going to talk about this on this stream, and you're not wrong to have shared this video with me. I'm always wrong, no matter what I say, because I am going to talk about this. This is one of my many pet peeves. False religiosity. Making a mockery of somebody else's sincere beliefs for, I don't know, a political game? I don't know. Don't do that. If you're out there considering pretending to be Jewish or Christian or Islamic or whatever, Sunni, Shiite, whatever, don't. There are few things in politics that are unforgivable. I think that is one of them. Don't cheapen somebody's entire life philosophy because you think you can use it, trick them, doing something that benefits you. That's low. Let's hear it. Let's hear what this cult leader has to say.
To force their faith on others.
News Channel 5 Chief Investigative Reporter Phil Williams has been analyzing this new video. Phil?
Now, to be very, very clear, this is not to disparage anyone's religious beliefs so much as it is to understand, specifically to understand how a candidate like Gabrielle Hanson continues to press on despite a growing list of scandals, including her association with white supremacists. And it shows why some are worried about where this could all lead. This video posted on Facebook by evangelist Amy Elizabeth Taylor shows a glory was held in the same city park as this year's Pride Festival. The poster declared, quote, "We are taking back the land by displacing demonic forces and ushering in his glory."
All right. I wanted to say that I don't believe these people are insincere, but then I saw what the organizers wrote. And if you think that a homosexual is demonic forces, I don't believe you're a sincere person. I don't believe, and I realize what I'm about to say is leveling a heavy accusation in certain communities. I want you to know this is not just something I'm saying in the moment because I'm angry now. I am angry now, but this is not why I'm saying it. I thought about this a lot. I don't believe they have sincere belief. I think they are lying about their belief. I think they are literally charlatans. Some of them who claim to be prophets, by the way, are literally false prophets. I believe they're false prophets in their own hearts. I question whether they even believe in God. But certainly, I do not believe that they believe what they are saying here. The organizers of this whole event, not just Gabrielle Hanson. I certainly think she's about to lie, and I think we're about to see her lying. But let me be crystal clear. I think the people that called the Pride event demonic forces are lying to you, to their followers, to everybody. Because that's just not a sincere reading of any religious sect that I'm aware of. Any religious teachings, let me say, that I'm aware of, including the strictest of Christianity. The homosexuals would not be demonic forces. You would at best be trying to save them, but by displacing demonic forces, they're looking to psych up their followers by making them feel like it was some huge victory to rent a tent. It's the same fundamental problem, although much more offensive in my personal worldview, as the last 90 times we've talked about Republicans, a criminal organization, Republicans. They're not having a serious conversation about these things. We haven't even gotten to Hansen yet. They're just not having a serious conversation. You should be concerned about that fact, about their apparent lack of sincerity, while they ask you to do some rather significant things.
The event included some of the same people who've tried to take over Franklin's historic town square every Saturday night, blasting out Christian music and claiming that time and space as their own.
We have somebody here.
I withdraw my There's nothing wrong with with that snippet that I saw of somebody trying to hang out regularly at a spot. Withdrawn with my But oh look, they're openly, this is apparently after the Nazi incident, they're openly saying, yeah, this friend of the Nazis is a friend of ours. Are you a serious person watching this? How does that make you feel? Friend of the Nazis is apparently a friend of theirs. You know what that makes? Every single one of those people Nazis. If there's, what is the old saying? If there's 4 people sitting down at a table and a Nazi comes and sits down with them, nobody says anything. What you have at that table is 5 Nazis. Gabriel Hansen should be receiving a constant flood of hate mail. Not threats, just expressions of distaste from the people in her town, demanding that she announce the end of her campaign. That's the only acceptable response to what she has done so far. Let's get to the weird stuff, though.
On this night, the guest of honor, controversial Franklin alderman and candidate for mayor Gabriel Hansen, the elected official who led the charge to block the Pride Festival and defended the worship group against complaints about the disruption to the quiet of Franklin's downtown. Among Hansen's scandals, she lifted a social media image to falsely claim a group of women as her supporters and had white supremacists show up at a candidate's.
I'm already getting mad. Let's go back. We've been watching this gal the whole time. Do you remember that? Those gals in that picture, not her friends. Not her friends. It's a picture she ripped from social media. There's a more detailed story. She was there, it seems like, at that event. Those are not people who support her in any way, shape, or form. Then she hung out with Nazis. If you're wondering, is that tattoo on his face related? Yep. Filth.
Form and a show of force for her campaign. Yet here,
She is empowered to run her mayor. Yeah.
All right. This is what we need to talk about. I understand, and I'll say this one more time. I understand this is a serious accusation, and I just want you to know whether I'm right or wrong, and I can't know that. Fair. I have thought about this. I do not believe the woman with the microphone, never mind Gabrielle Hansen, after the first scandal, we need not have covered her, except that she was a danger. When it got beyond silly when she had the Nazis show up and so. Now I've got nothing else that's necessary to say about her. After saying she's a friend of Nazis, proof was in that pudding you just saw. There's nothing else to say about it. Let's talk about the lady with the mic. I do not believe her religious belief is sincere. If you have sincere religious belief, then that is a hell of an accusation. That is a serious accusation out there. I acknowledge that, but I mean it. I think that lady pretends to believe and uses religious language because she believes she will gain things for doing that here on earth. Of course, I can't know if she actually believes in God, but I'd be willing to gamble a whole lot if I was willing to gamble anything on the idea that she does not believe Gabrielle Hansen has been empowered by God. I think she's making a mockery out of people's religion. I think we should be deeply disturbed that it works at all, and I think everybody in that congregation has an obligation. They want to hold their heads high. They have an obligation to kick her out. She has no business there. She's not sincerely pursuing a relationship with God. She is using God's name to blaspheme. Truly to blaspheme. I'm not saying accidentally cursing by saying Lord this or damn that, which I do entirely do. I acknowledge. But that is a sincere mistake on my part. She is doing an intentional, premeditated, and full-throated blaspheme in an area that it seems to be designated as a place of worship. If temporary, nonetheless, it is a place of worship. The Bible literally writes about these people. This is a charlatan. She's trying to get you, people of Tennessee, listen to me, I beg you. She's trying to get you to vote for a Nazi, and she is using the name of the Lord God to do so. Don't put up with that. Take offense at that. You're allowed to be offended. Truly you are. I know people whine about cancel culture all the time. Ignore those people for a moment. You're allowed to be offended. That's why the word exists. This is the sort of thing is fine to be offended. When people say there's a war on Christmas, they're lying to you. There is no war on Christmas. I'm starting to think there is a war on Christianity. That's what it looks like. You got a bunch of golden cow worshippers amongst you.
She is empowered to be the mayor. Yes. She is anointed.
For those of you who are not religious, to say somebody is anointed is a hell of a thing to say in that group. Domenico, if you have any expertise, I don't know what denomination you are. I don't We haven't talked very much about this stuff specifically, but chime in, please, and explain the seriousness of the phrases she's using right now. The gal with the microphone.
Henson's problems are blamed on demonic forces.
And the enemy has been going for people in our very community with deception, with lies. And that happens when we...
Do you understand? Gabrielle Hansen lied. She deceived and she lied about the friends on social media. You know, that post she shared, she specifically lied and deceived. Then she invited a bunch of Nazis to come hang out with her. She deceived and she lied and she said she didn't invite them. And then they set the record straight. She said they asked us to come here. Or Hansen asked us to come here. Accuse others of that which you are guilty of, says the fascist playbook.
What happens when we stand for truth?
Here they pray over Hansen and declare her to be God's chosen candidate for mayor.
Power and authority. Power and authority. Power.
They are praying performatively. Note the music's still going on. And okay, maybe this is a particular sect that is okay with. All right. But in the context of all the other lies we know she just told with supposed religious authority, and God is not wrong, incidentally, according to this religion. So if she is, guess what? She lied. So with with that in mind, here's Gabrielle Hansen with her hands up and her eyes closed, pretending to have a religious experience, playing on the emotions of people that genuinely believe they have had religious experiences. We can disagree with whether or not those were true. To those people, they were. And she's playing with their emotions. That can't be allowed to stand if you're a Christian. You have an obligation to find out the truth of this. If I'm lying and Gabrielle Hansen somehow was telling the truth about all these other things, you have an obligation to find out and shut me up with the truth. But otherwise, you have an obligation to make it crystal clear to her that your religion is not a plaything.
She will be a mayor on fire. A mayor on fire.
They insist her way is God's way.
You sing song, we're gonna sing over her right now. You are the center of attention. Because you carry the Holy Spirit.
And they pray.
So my sister, I believe.
Did she say you're worthy of it all? Mike, I appreciate this. I really do. I might not be able to finish this without saying something I will regret. I am going to call on Christians, though. Tennessee Christians. If your belief is sincere, you have an obligation to address people whose belief is not sincere for their blaspheming. If your belief is sincere, then you also are a peaceful person. But you have an obligation to speak. You have an obligation to write in and to speak and to not let somebody get away with making a mockery out of someone's sincere religious belief. That is a level of disrespect which must be addressed. I'm a staunch atheist, in full disclosure. I'm a devout atheist. But I arrived there by walking next to a lot of people that wound up on different destinations. And I have some sense, obviously not a complete sense, but some sense of how sacred some of these things are. Some of these concepts are. And if you are a sincere Christian, you cannot allow this to. You have an obligation to defend your religion, words and with kindness. You have an obligation to actually act on this. Just write her a letter. Write Gabrielle Hansen a letter. That's simple. Ask her to stop. Stop running for mayor. Stop mocking your religion. Politely but firmly say, ma'am, I don't believe you believe. Stop. Oh, Mike, I'm sorry I didn't finish that. I probably will finish watching that on my lonesome. But I am getting genuinely fired up. and this is one of those topics I want to make sure I'm double and triple checking everything. Especially because I am not in the targeted group. And I don't want to speak for them and not have my facts. But that's a level of blaspheming I find difficult to sit. Nonetheless, thank you for bringing that to my attention, man. News Channel 5, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. I know they're traditional media, but fantastic report. On par with anything seen on Rebel HQ. I mean, they are fantastic reports. Great job. Folks, in not too much longer, I'm going to push it back to 9:15, but in not too much longer, we're going to do a call-in show. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. This has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. My name's Jake.